Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Islamic Economics Series. You know, in any field of research, and especially in ours, how you present your work is everything. Clarity, credibility, these are paramount. And a huge part of that academic integrity comes down to correctly citing your sources. So today, we're going to master a skill that is, quite literally, the foundation of all strong research. APA 7th edition in-text citations.
So here's what we've got on the agenda. We'll start with the big picture, the two parts of referencing. Then we'll zoom in on the two main ways you'll be citing things, parenthetical versus narrative. From there, we'll tackle the rules for different numbers of authors, what to do with group authors, and finally, we'll tie it all together by connecting those in-text citations back to your reference list.
All right, first things first. Before we get into all the specific formats, we really need to get this core idea down. API referencing isn't just about those parentheses you see in a paragraph. It's a complete two-part system. I like to think of it as a lock and a key. You absolutely need both for it to work. One is pretty much useless without the other. So here's how that system actually works. The in-text citation, the little note you put right in your paragraph, is basically a quick pointer. It's a signal to your reader that says, hey, this idea came from another source. Then, your reader can use that little pointer to find the full address in the reference list at the very end of your paper. That's where all the details are. They're two halves of a whole, and if one part is missing, the whole reference is incomplete.
Okay, let's get to the real heart of the matter. When you create that pointer to your source in your writing, you've basically got two main ways to do it, the parenthetical format and the narrative format. Honestly, if you can get the difference between these two, you've already won about 90% of the battle.
So what's the difference? It's actually incredibly simple. It all just boils down to one single question. Where does the author's name go? Is it tucked away inside the parentheses with the date, or is it part of the actual sentence you're writing? That's it. That's the fundamental choice you're going to make every single time you cite a source. The parenthetical citation is probably the one you see most often. You make your point, you write your sentence, and then at the end of the clause, you simply drop in the author's last name and the year, separated by a comma, all inside a set of parentheses. This lets you give credit without really interrupting the flow of your writing. For example, the study showed a clear link between the two variables, Samuel 2022. See? Easy. Now, the narrative citation does the opposite. It actually weaves the author's name right into your sentence. This style is really useful when you want to put the focus on the actual researcher. You might write something like, as Samuel 2022 discovered, there's a clear link. In this case, the author is the star of the show, and the year just follows their name in parentheses.
All right, so now that we've got the two main formats down, parenthetical and narrative, we can add the next layer of rules. Because the way you format your citation will change just a little bit depending on how many authors are listed on the source you're using.
This table breaks it down perfectly. For one author, it's totally straightforward. For two authors, you always name both of them. But, and this is a key detail, in the parenthetical style, you use an ampersand, that little and symbol. In the narrative style, you write out the word and. Now, for anything with 3 or more authors, APA 7th has made things way easier. You just list the first author's last name, followed by et al., that's just Latin for and others, and you use it from the very first citation.
Okay, so what happens when your source isn't a person, but an organization, like a government agency, a university, or corporation? Well, this is a bit of a special case, and there's a specific rule you need to know, especially for groups that have a common abbreviation.
The big rule here is all about the first time you cite the group. The very first time you have to write out its full name, and then you provide the abbreviation right after it in square brackets. So, for example, World Health Organization WHO 2013. After you've done that once, for every other time you cite them in your paper, you can just use the abbreviation. So, WHO 2013. It's a simple little rule that makes your writing much cleaner.
So, we've pretty much covered how to create all those little pointers inside your text. Now it's time to close the loop and talk about where those pointers actually lead, the reference list.
This right here is the golden, unbreakable rule of academic writing. Every single in-text citation you make has to match up perfectly with a full entry in your reference list. And it works both ways. Every single thing in your reference list has to be cited somewhere in your text. This perfect one-to-one match is what allows any reader to find your sources and, well, trust your work.
And this is what that final destination looks like. If you saw a pointer that said Cartilage 2023 in the text, this is the full entry you'd find in the reference list. It gives you everything: the author, the year, the title, where it was published, and often a direct link using that DOI or Digital Object Identifier. It's a really logical, clean, and traceable system when you think about it.
At the end of the day, getting these formats right isn't just about following rules or avoiding penalties. It's about communicating your research professionally and with integrity. It's how you show respect for the work of others and how you build a foundation of trust with your reader. So as you work on your next paper, just think about that. How will you use these formats not just to cite, but to actually make your arguments stronger and boost your credibility? See you in the next one. Subscribe, like, and comment.